everybody, and welcome to the show Into the Night with me, Shawn Kelly. And what a show it's going to be. Okay. Hi, Cindy, Heidi, River. Good to see everybody. Stephen, Wojo, Mr. Wojo. Yes, 3 and 0. Yeah, I know. I'm just like getting excited about that. And um, hey, Michelle. Hey, and Heidi, and everybody that's coming in tonight. So tonight, it, I will tell you straight out, I'll be stuttering as hell. To be honest with you, if I told you that I was not nervous about doing this show tonight, I'd be lying to you. So, to be honest with you, I am very nervous. Um, but before we get to the show, there's a couple announcements I need to make. Friday nights, I'm a co-host on the show News on the Flip Side, and I found out yesterday that we made the second tier, and to see if we won or not. Called the People's Choice Awards, and we're running up against four other news teams, and can cross your fingers there and stuff like that, and go from there. Hopefully, we'll get it. I want to thank you, PRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi, for allowing me to give you this 1 hour show on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights. And speaking of Tuesday nights, my guest will be Heather Moser. And I'll just give you what she's all about there. Let me get to it if I can. Um, of course, my phone won't work. She is a researcher and producer for the film production company called Small Town Monsters. And she's also helping launch Small Town Monsters Publishing. She's definitely an author. Um, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what she has to say this Tuesday. So if you're not doing anything on Tuesday night, jump on over and check us out. Cindy says, I figured you would be nervous. Remember to show only what you're comfortable with sharing. We love you, Shawn. Thank you very much, Cindy. Well, I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was born June 4th, 1962. But where I'm at today, um, I really don't know much of, my early childhood and stuff like that. And before we go on, if anybody has any questions, any type of questions you want to ask me, please do. Um, I'd be more than happy to answer for you to the best of my ability. All I know is that I really looked this whole week. I looked and tried to figure out when it all started for me to where I'm at today. It started January 21st, 1991, and that's my sobriety date. That's when actually I got sober. That is the date that I am going to give you where to start from. Well, my son was born in 1990, September 1990. So those 4 months there were great, and but I wasn't a good person. I wasn't a good person. I was a mean drunk. I was rude. I was inconsiderate. And if I could not get anything off of you for me, I'd kick you to the curb. And no questions asked. Hey, Stoney, no questions asked. If you didn't have what I wanted, then you were gone and you were away. I kicked you to the curb. And I just didn't care. I didn't care if I hurt you. I don't care if I hurt your family, your friends, whatever. I was a very, very bad person. And so January 21st, 1991 is when I got sober, and I joined Alcoholics Anonymous. And when I joined AA, well, first of all, before I joined AA, I went to a rehab center up in Ligonier Valley. It's no longer there. That's up near Johnstown, PA. And I was there for 37 days. And I guess that's when, you know, I learned that life wasn't all about me. It, it taught me, started to teach me that um, I'm not the best. I'm not the best person on earth, and egotistical like I was. Oh, trust me, I was very, very egotistical. But that's where, when I went to the rehab, I was there 37 days. And from that time on, since January 21st, 1991, um, I've been sober. And trust me, it isn't an easy path. It wasn't an easy path at all. Because even after I got sober, I didn't take a drink, but I still found out that I still had the personalities, or I never changed my habits. I was still an asshole. I treated people like crap. It was all about me. It was all about me. And yeah, I went to AA meetings and just to see, not to actually get sober at that time. It was just to get out and get free coffee and donuts and listen to people talk for an hour. That was it. I didn't work on myself. I didn't care. I just did not care. And so um, one day, I finally broke down and I got a sponsor. I hope I'm not boring you guys here. I got a sponsor, and that's when I started doing what I had to do with me in order to find myself in me. At the time, I was married, and in 1996, me and my wife got divorced. Okay, and it was mutual. I'm not going to get into the hassles or whatever it went into. It was a very, very mutual divorce. Okay. She let me see my son whenever I wanted. There was no fighting with us. I mean, I tell you what, I was extremely, extremely lucky. But what year was it? In 1990, 91, I was at an AA meeting over in Homestead, Pennsylvania. And a woman invited me over to her coffee shop that she just opened up after the meeting. And here, what happened was she also read tarot decks. And so we went over there, had coffee, and I asked her if I could read her cards for her. And I did. And she fell on the floor. I was a little bit surprised about, myself that, a lot of stuff came true what I said to her. And that started a nice relationship because she was a friend of mine. But the funny thing was about this lady, she was always nice to me. And that's one thing I never had in my life, people being nice to me. And I couldn't understand why. But she was good to me. Joe says, hey, Shawn, I'm divorced, no kids. The one I'm with now is not going so well either after 13 years. I am sorry to hear that, Joe. I'm sorry to hear that. Deborah says, I find it so hard to believe you were ever, as you put it, an asshole. I was, Deborah, very much so. The first time I met you, I knew you were one of the gentlest, kindest people I ever met. I still feel that way. Thank you, Deborah, for that compliment. Thank you. But it took me a long time to get there, Deb. It really did. And so with the lady's name was Jean. And Thank you, Joe Fox. God bless you too. And with Jean, she hooked me up with, a couple ladies who were really big into the metaphysical. Okay. Um, and the one lady, people from Pennsylvania might know, Jean Martin, she was out in Monroeville. And she taught me how to meditate. And again, and I learned from the meditation and how to meditate. But here's the crazy thing about it. She was nice to me also. She didn't have one bad thing to say about me. She never put me down. She never called me a loser, or treated me like I was a piece of crap. She treated me with respect and she was very nice to me. And I know when I felt that from Jean and from Jean Martin, it felt great. I'm thinking, wow, people actually are um, people are nice. Joe says I'm so damn sick and tired of blaming myself though. Um, Joe, to me, it's like um, it's natural to blame ourselves for this kind of stuff. And you know what? That's okay because you can actually work through it, Joe. You can work through it. So Jean Martin, she actually taught me how to meditate, and that's when I started to get a clarity. Okay. Um, I started working in the metaphysical field. Hey, Corey, there's my girl. Hey, Corey, good to see you, hon. That's my buddy, Corey. Her mom's my best friend in the world. And it just felt good to how that they were treating me. And it felt good that I learned a whole new world at meditating and what I learned out of my meditations. And it was probably the first time in my life that people were actually paying attention to me and treating me with that respect and treating me with love. Joe Fox says, sorry, my apologies. I'm not trying to hijack your show. Don't apologize. Don't you ever, ever, ever apologize, Joe. Honest to God, like Jethro Leroy Gibbs says on NCIS, never apologize. Never apologize. Thank you for the hearts, Heidi. And then that's what I did. I went to my AA meetings and people were nice to me there. And then I was with my metaphysical people and they were nice to me. But I still did not want to help people out. I still didn't want to be nice because all my life practically I was an asshole. And I got things being an asshole. And I lost a lot of things being an asshole. Okay. I'll just go on fun. Billy says, how the hell this get on fun? I don't know, Billy. I don't know. They, Billy, maybe, the big man has something upstairs telling you that, maybe watch his show. I'm not sure. When my show's on, strange things happen. But, but I didn't want to be nice to people. I wanted the attention. I wanted people to treat me nice. But again, in return, I never did. I'd never wanted to do it. And for some reason, for some reason, um, I was doing a reading. I also worked at a psychic fair. Hey, Scotsman, good to see you, brother. And welcome to the show. And what happened was I started to do psychic readings. And I started to read people. And I was in, um, there's like 7 or 8 of us that would go every weekend someplace and do psychic readings for people, little different towns. And then again, you know, I mean, I wasn't none of them extravagant readers where I have everything laid out on the table. I was a plain Sean, plain John, Joe, John, whatever. I was plain. But people came up to me and asked me for my help by giving them a reading. And I'm like, wow, okay. And the smiles, the gratitude that I got from these people when they told me, hey, Michael, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for stopping in, pal. Appreciate it. And the gratitude and the happiness that I, gave these people who I read for, it kind of like warmed up my heart a little bit, you know? It warmed up my heart. And so I guess right then and there, Tim Vogel, hey, Sean, good stuff. Enjoy the show, Bill. Thank you, Tim, for being on. And that's when it started, when I started to help other people out and how good they felt when I could help them out. And then I looked at the other readers that were reading and how people went away with a smile on their face. And that's how it started. That, hey, it's really not that bad to help a person. If you treat them with respect, if you treat them the way you want to be treated, then things go right. So that's what happened. That's how it started. That's when the fire was lit. Okay. And and I stuck with it. And the reason why I stuck with it was because it made me feel good, you know. And I learned to meditate even more. I learned about guardian guardians. I learned about guardian angels. I learned about spirit animals. I learned all this stuff. And the more that I learned, how to meditate, dealing with the angels, dealing with the animals, the spirit totem animals, and going out to South Park and finding a quiet place and just closing my eyes, sitting under a tree, just feeling the energy coming from the tree. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, they do have energy. I just felt absorbed. Okay. I was absorbed with a lot of love. And it just started to go. It started to go. It was like a complete, circle. Like the energy just kept flowing. And it was all good energy. But every good thing happen. Everything's riding a horse. But being a human being that I am, okay, I was waiting for the shoe to drop to where it would go back to where I was being nasty at again. I was waiting for it. And it kind of sucked because you know why? Because I was enjoying what was happening to me, the transformation. But no, I was like, no, I became I became that bad person again. Because for a period of time there, nobody wanted to talk to me, nobody wanted a reading, no one wanted to be around me. And that bothered me. Why nobody wanted to be around me? And I'm thinking, well, what the hell did I do wrong? What's going on here? For the longest time, people were calling me up. They were, asking for readings, just wanted to chat. A lot of people have said that, my energy is very, very good. and they liked being around me because I made them happy. And then all of a sudden it stopped. It did. And instead of, work, hey, Kason, how are you? I'm glad you're here, brother. I'm telling my story. And I just couldn't figure out why it stopped. And so I figured, hell, here's my life again. Got to get back. Got to get back to being me. Even though I did do my AA meetings, thank God for AA, I'll be honest with you, and thank God for Spirit because they saved my ass. They really did. Okay. Um, but I didn't realize, okay, I did not realize that the reason why people just quit everything on me, I realized that Spirit was moving me up the chain. You know, um, he put me through, the honeymoon phase, I guess you want to call it. And he said, "All right, Shawn, you did pretty good. It's time for you to move up again." And that was hard. Okay, it was really, really hard. But I managed to do it. But in the meantime, when nothing was happening, I still got into the meditation. I still learned how to feel when I went under my meditations. I had great spirit guides that took me everywhere. They taught me a lot. I still went out to South Park and sat there, closed my eyes, sit underneath the tree, sit by the water. And that's what I did. I did the basic things. And here I come to find out that I really never lost. Um, I never lost the feeling I had when I help people out. And I guess I'm not guessing, I'm telling you the truth. Even though at that time I was reading people and doing this and everything, I had an ego about it. Okay, I did. I had a massive ego. I was, it was a big ego. And come to find out, that spirit probably saw that my ego was too big. So he knocked me down a couple pegs. And when I finally realized and accepted the fact that I need to do this work without an ego, without an ego. And that was kind of hard to do because I liked having an ego, but it never worked. It never worked. It just seems like whenever I thought that I am the best psychic out there or the best reader out there, no one can touch me. I'm this, I'm that. Nah, it don't work. I got my ass kicked for it, you know. I'm not physically, but spiritually I did. And so came the time. Remember those psychic hotlines that they had on that they advertised? A friend of mine who was also a psychic called me up and said, "Why don't we try this?" And so I started the psychic hotline, and I did okay. But here's what bothered me the most about it was that I made a little bit, but the company that I worked for took in a ton of money, a ton of money. And so one night, this lady called the hotline and they connected me to her. And I gave her a reading. And she spent the whole hour on the phone with me. And after that was over with, she called me again for another reading. And I said, I already read you. I said, you can't afford this. Because the first call cost her $500. $500 for an hour. And for a half hour, it was like $250. I felt so damn bad that all this lady wanted to do was talk. Was talk. And I hung up, thought about it, and I said, you know what? I don't need this. Because finally I realized that God gave me this gift to help people, not to take their money. This gift I had wasn't about greed. It wasn't about selfishness. It wasn't about me living on the mountain or whatever. No. The gift he gave me was to help people. That's what he did. That was my gift. So I called up that people that I worked for, and I quit. And then from that time on, my my attitude changed. And a lot of people, even my own mom, right? My own mom looked at me and said, "What happened to you?" I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "You're not an asshole anymore. You've been acting really nice." And I just couldn't tell her what I was doing, you know. But that made me feel good hearing that from my mother. And from that time on, I started to be nice to people. I started to learn how to care for a person. I started to learn that other people's feelings matter too, that it wasn't just about me. And so, and I worked on that. I worked on that. And it was hard. Believe me, it was hard. But I had to do it because I really enjoyed what I was doing, helping people. If it was, saying hello, giving them a hug, doing a reading for them, it not only did it make them feel good, it made me feel good inside. And the big thing that I learned to do was I learned to listen to people, not give them all this extravagant advice. I listened, didn't do a lot of talking, but I listened. And I intentionally listened to them because at one point in time, they never had anybody to talk to. And by just saying to a person, everything will be okay, they didn't believe me. But you know what? A lot of them did. Even the ones that didn't believe me would call me up and say, hey, thank you. And whenever I got that back, whenever I got that acknowledgement back that I helped the people, it just strengthened, it made my spirituality, my sensitivity more stronger. And as you guys know, I did it with humility. I did it with humbleness. I didn't want nothing from these people. And in the back of my mind, Spirit is telling me, no egoness. Kason, you're welcome, buddy. I told you I'd do it. I told you I'd do it, my friend. You've been on my mind all week, brother. Everybody in here has been on my mind, and that's when I got it. I finally realized and I finally understood what happiness is, what love is, what caring is, all the great emotions. That's when I found it. And there were times where, people, well, I don't call people, Spirit would put me through tests and he'll throw an asshole in front of me to see how I would react. And again, the person who acted like an asshole in front of me or tried to be really nasty to me, okay, I treat them with the same respect as I treat anybody with respect. And it worked because I never did it ever again. I also learned that, you know, people are going through a certain thing right now in their lives. They're going through a certain thing. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But you know what? I know they just needed somebody to talk to. And I'm going to tell you that there are angels that are here on earth. And there are. And every time, when I'm in a bind or a pickle, as y'all want to call it, I guess, God or spirit sends me a living angel. I'm going to tell you this short story, then we're going to take a break, and then come back. And if you have any questions you want to ask, I will still continue the story. Um, but I remember we have a restaurant up here where I live. It's called Eaton Park. And one night there was a guy, an old man out there who looked homeless. Okay, he looked homeless. And so at that time, you couldn't smoke in the restaurant anymore. So I stepped outside and I had a cigarette. Well, this old man followed me out, and he said, "Hey, do you got $5 so I can get a cup of coffee?" And I said, "Sure. Here's a 10." Not realizing that this man changed my life. This angel changed my life. So I gave him the 10. Even gave him a smoke. We smoked a cigarette. We went back in, sat down. And then as I turned around to go back in, he was gone. He was nowhere in that restaurant. Nowhere. And I just had this cold chill just come over me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that was an angel. Showing me, that, it, little, not test, I don't want to say test, but little reminder that, you know, loving somebody or taking care of somebody goes a long way. And for the next year, everything happened for me, it went great. Best year of my life. And it all came down to that 10 minutes I spent with that guy. Well, it's not a guy, no, to me, he's an angel. Spending, time with the angel, and that kind of changed my life. So I wanted to share that story with you. Um, that angel guy really, really saved my life. Stoney says, guardians show up all the time. We are never alone. That's true, Stone. That's true. I get it at work. Oh, that's another reason why I'm very nice, because I work in customer service. Been working in customer service for almost 30 years. So I had to be nice for the people. But listen, I'm going to go to a short 70-second break, and we'll come back. And if you have any questions you want to ask me, feel free You're welcome, Joe. Um, Feel free to ask me any questions you want, and I'd be more than happy to help you answer them. So I'll be back in 70 seconds. Hi, welcome back to the second part of the show, Into the Night with me, Shawn Kelly, your host. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi, for allowing me to give you this hour tonight and the hour on Tuesday. This Tuesday, I have Heather Moser coming on, and she's a publicist and researcher. So, and I've talked to her on the phone, and I'm telling you what, it's definitely going to be a great show. Um, I'm up for on Friday nights. I am with Joe Montaldo, his show. I'm a co-host into the News on the Flip Side. Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. But we are up for the People Choice Awards. The show is, and you know, we're looking. Hopefully, there's four. We're going against four other news shows. So, say a little prayer or something like that. Cross your fingers. Yeah, hey, Tom, good to see you, my friend. That's Tommy K. I don't know how to pronounce it, Tom, but that's okay. You got your ears lowered. Yes, I did get my ears lowered. Thank you, Stone. Um, but yeah, it feels good to get a haircut. They took so much hair off of me, honest to God, that you could feel three little puppy pillows. No shit. Hey, Robert, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. But the first part, I was telling everybody, my friends in the chat room wanted to know my story, and I shared the majority of it with you guys in the first half. So, if anybody out there, okay, right now in the chat room, want to ask me a question, please feel free to do so, and I'd be more than happy to answer it for you. We got about 10, 11 minutes left of the show, but when it came to starting paranormal investigating, again, the ego kicked in, you know, and I was the best paranormal investigator out there. No one could touch me, blah, 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 the whole bullshit stories, that got me into trouble for the first time. And since I had, experience in the metaphysical world, um, I, I was I was empathic, and so I could actually tell if the spirits were there or not, and I could see them, hear them, and feel them, um, and that's how it kind of got going. Kaysen says, "I missed the first part. Did you say you are a psychic?" I am an empath. I don't like the word psychic, Kaysen. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm an empath. Okay, but I did say it. But I consider myself an empath now. And so, where do I go? So that kind of helped out with Pittsburgh Paranormal Society when I formed it. I didn't realize it would get to where it is today. Um, I considered, the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society not so much as an investigating the paranormal. I consider it as a front because everybody knows that has been in my group. We really did not go anywhere to these places that you see on TV that are haunted. We actually did clients. We actually went to people's houses to help them out. That's what we did. And we did more clients than you could shake a stick at. And I guess, I'm not guessing, it is because what I learned back when I first started, that I was I had to be nice and I had to listen and I had to understand where they were coming from and not just be some mean SOB going up and say, hey, you're full of crap, your house ain't haunted. Or break out all the equipment, kick them out of their house for a night so we can have to run into place. No. We were there to help them out with the investigation and we were there to support them. And the more clients that we supported, the more love we got in return, the more spiritual we got in return. Because when they say whatever, if you help somebody out, it will come back to you tenfold or threefold, however you want to say it. And it did, and it did. I know I investigated Deborah's Deborah's house. We went over there. We did a lot of houses. But as time went on and doing these houses, it became a lot easier to help people, to understand people. And that is the biggest gift I have that I got out of this, is that I understand where people are at in their lives today. And I understand that they are hurting. And I understand that I'm there so they can talk, so they can share their ups and downs. I am there to give them a hug when they need to be hugged. And still, it just makes me feel good inside that I can do that for a person. Because I remember the old Shawn Kelly wouldn't have done it like that. It would have been a whole different story. But I understand now. And that's why I don't judge people. I don't. And people shouldn't judge other people. The only person in the world right now who could judge a person is the big guy upstairs, or the spirit, or Buddha, whoever you believe in. They're the only ones that could judge you. If you see somebody hurting, just go up and say hello. Go up and say hello. Or give them a hug. Hugs don't hurt. Hugs are free. Smiles are free. But the big thing is, listen to them. If they need to talk, let them talk. Just have an open heart about it. You don't have to give them advice. And that's what I do. I let people talk. Steve, hey, Mr. Rojo says amen. Thank you. Stone Halibut says, how wonderful to be able to see the experience you grew from. Thank you, Stone. Appreciate it. Bless you too, Robert. Man, me and Robert, man, we go back. This is my best friend. My best friend. Still is my best friend. You know. Robo says, Shawn, do people who are in heaven ever die? Oh, good question. Well, to be honest with you, I don't think so. They might have died. I'm glad you asked that question because this, it just popped into my brain. What I think about it is that I don't think so. I think that person died here on earth and their spirit left their body and now it's in heaven or it's walking this plane. Their spirit is alive. I don't think they ever die. I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on that one. Seriously, I'd like to hear what people have to say about that. But no, I don't think they died. I'm glad you put that question up. That was pretty interesting. So just be nice to people, care about people, and love people. But the main thing is you have to do it with humility. You have to be completely 100% humble. That's the key word. Is humbleness, humility. Kason, did you come to a point in the past that you thought you'll never get out of a hard situation? Yes, Kason. Yes. Yes, I did. But what I didn't realize was that there was spirits out there, or angels and everything like that, um, were working on me. I was too blind to see it. But eventually I did get out of the situation. I did. Kason, you gotta have, and I can't tell you this, but I can tell you for me, Kason, and maybe you might get something out of this. You gotta have a little faith, dude. You have to trust whoever you believe in and ask them for help. And they'll help you. In fact, everybody in my chat room right now, your spirit guides are probably helping you now. And your angels are helping you now. You know what I mean? They are. Uh, Cindy Simpson says, I agree with our soul will not live forever. True. Robert says, as in the creed during Mass, we believe in the resurrection of the dead. Resurrection of the dead, yes. Stony says, yes, key is humble, grows mana, being calm, and knowing that you are listening to and hearing. And Joe Fox says, one thing I do have above all is faith. Thank you for letting me share my story with you. Okay, we're at that time where I have to sign off. If you have any questions you want to ask, send me a message. Yes, Mom. But this was a very, and I'm being honest, and I'm not being a jerk about this, but tonight, this 51 minutes has been humbleness for me. It got me really humble. And I thank you. And I thank everybody in my chat rooms. I thank you for that. Children, if you can. You're welcome, Heidi. You're welcome. And Stony says, that's what it's about, Sharon. It's true. Children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Stony says, thank you for sharing this adventure and growth. You're welcome. And if you have no children, and if you have no parents, find somebody, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. Don't forget, Tuesday night, I'm going to have Heather Moser on. Please stop by and we'll see what she has to say. Again, I want to thank everybody for being in the chat room and have a lovely evening. And on that note, good night, everybody. Happy hunting.